Before you start education, the first thing is, you must take an universal identity, cosmic identity. Only then education is given to you, because education is empowerment. You should never empower a limited identity. If you empower a limited identity, violence is a natural consequence of that. Knife is not dangerous, it is the hand, it is the identity which makes the knife dangerous. If there is no knife, just with the hand we will kill. Setting a limitless identity, not a small limited identity, must happen at an early age. If this doesn't happen, our intelligence will work against us. That's what is happening in the world today. I did not talk about devaluing them or leaving them aside. What do you think? Is this planet round or flat?
I suspect it's quite round.
Really? You suspect it's round, you're not sure?
No, yes, I'm sure. It is round, in fact. In fact, I think that is how matter has to collect around gravity.
No, don't go there, gravity is another thing. But today we know it is round. Though, if I walk up and down this place, in my experience it feels flat. But we know it is round. We debated this for thousands of years, all right? But we couldn't figure it. But it became very clear to us only when we took off. We created some distance from the planet. You flew up there and looked, very clearly it looked round. You went and stood on the moon and looked round, 100% it's clear it's round. So what gave you this clarity is the distance. When you were in it, you thought any number of ways but you couldn't figure it. But the moment you had distance, you had clarity. So only in that context I said, you must know how to keep your accumulations aside. If you're carrying a bag, when you don't need it, you must be able to keep it aside. If all the time if you carry it, it'll become a torturous process. That's what is happening to people. Nothing wrong with your mind, it's just that all the time it's on and it's becoming torturous. Not knowing how to do, they're sozzling it out with alcohol or drug or something else. Essentially, they are unable to bear the activity of their own mind, isn't it? If they could keep this bag aside for some time, all we have accumulated, it would be nice. You won't lose it, because nobody's going to pick it up and go. It's there for you, but once there is a little distance, you have an absolute understanding of the nature of what it is, only then you can handle it the way you want. Right now, you're handling both your body and mind accidentally. When you do things accidentally, anxiety is normal, and that's what is happening. Because everything is accidental. Because there's no clarity about anything. Because the nature of intellect is such. If I ask you, would you like your intellect to be sharp or blunt? You must choose right now, I'm going to bless you. Sharp or blunt?
Sharp.
Sharp. So you understand, intellect is a cutting instrument. It's like a knife. The sharper, the better. If somebody is very sharp, you will say, oh, he's a razor sharp. Intellect, very sharp. So cutting instrument. Cutting instrument can be used for dissection. With dissection, we know many things. Did you do science in your high school? You cut open that frog and saw how the heart was pulsing. The frog didn't think much about it, that's another matter. But you came to know so many things in this world. Slicing a human body, slicing a flower, slicing an atom, we discovered so many things. But is this a complete way of knowing? Can I know you by dissecting you fully? Is it possible? Maybe I will know you better by including you, by engaging you, rather than dissecting you. By dissecting you, I may know your heart, liver, kidney and spleen, but I will not know anything about you. Only by inclusion I know. So, you are using a cutting instrument, or let's say you take your knife and try to sew your clothes, you will have tatters. So this is what is happening with approaching everything intellectually. Everything is going into tatters. We are trying to sew with a knife, it's not going to work. There are other dimensions of intelligence. In the yogic way of looking at things, we look at human intelligence as 16 parts. Out of the 16 parts, to make it simpler, we can make it into 4 categories. It's called Buddhi, Ahankara, Manas and Chitta. Buddhi means the intellect, it's the front end. This is essentially a survival kit. Without your discriminatory intellect, you wouldn't be able to survive on this planet. You have to discriminate. Now here a deer came and here an elephant came, you should know which way to go, otherwise you wouldn't survive. Discrimination is constantly on, which is keeping you alive right now. Otherwise you wouldn't know whether to walk into whether to walk on the sidewalk or in the middle of the road, you wouldn't know. So there is a discriminatory process which is keeping you alive. It's a survival instrument. Without it, you cannot function. How does this survival instrument function? What is its nature? We will not go too much into that because they're timekeepers. But it is something that everybody knows. The next dimension is called Ahankara. Ahankara means identity. What kind of identity you fix, that is how your intellect will work. Right now you sit here and say, I'm an American. This thinks and acts like an American all the time. Or I say, I'm an Indian. It thinks and acts like an Indian. In India, there's a classic thing happening in our own generation. It was all one nation. Somebody drew a line and said, this is India, this is Pakistan. Suddenly, some line that somebody drew and nobody knows where exactly the damn line is, still the dispute is going on. All right? But suddenly, if you're on this side, you have one kind of emotion and thought, if you're on that side, you have a completely different emotion and thought. Just a piece of cloth, I mean a flag, if you look at it, tears will come to you. People are willing to live for it and die for it, all right? So that is how it is, identity. The moment you identify with something, your intellect serves that identity, always. If you say, I'm a man, it always functions as a man. If you say, I'm a woman, it functions that way. If I say I'm this or that or whatever, race, religion, nationality, anything, the moment you identify with something, your intellect is striving only to protect that identity and support that. That's how your intellect is functioning. In modern societies, we've done nothing about this. People are getting identified with football clubs. They're nations by themselves. Yes?
Oh, yeah.
Football club is a nation by itself. People are willing to fight for it and die for it. Because we have not cultured an identity. When a culturing an identity means, in India there was a system, now unfortunately it's largely gone, though still some part of India still has this. First thing before we start education, it's called Vidyarambham. Before you start education, the first thing is, you must take an universal identity, cosmic identity. Only then education is given to you, because education is empowerment. You should never empower a limited identity. If you empower a limited identity, violence is a natural consequence of that. My identity versus your identity. It may be race, it may be religion, it may be nationality, it may be region. Essentially, my identity fights with your identity because I'm identified with this, you're identified with that. So, before you empower a human being with education and knowledge, first thing is you must fix a cosmic identity for that person. This used to be called as Aham Brahmasmi. First thing is a child must say, my identity is cosmic. I belong to the cosmos, not to these parents who are sitting with me right now. I love them, they have nurtured me, but my identity is cosmic. The child has to utter this. Only then, first alphabet is taught to him, because it was education as seen as an empowerment. Just tell me, today in the world, are uneducated, illiterate people causing more damage or educated people on the planet causing more damage to the entire planet? So, it is just unfortunately, empowerment is happening without fixing the identity. With my limited identity, if I study all kinds of nuclear science, what am I going to do? I'm going to bomb you, that's all I'm going to do to you. What else will I do to you? That's all I will do to you because this is my identity. You stand against me, suddenly I have to do something about that. So whatever capability I have, I'm going to use it. That's what is happening. So identities have not at all been worked at, that's a big problem. But intellect functions according to your identity. If we have to use and continue the analogy, intellect is like a knife. Is a knife, suppose we don't give a knife to a child's hand, why? Knife is not dangerous. Child's hand is not steady, that is the problem, isn't it? You are in the surgery rooms all the time. Tell me on this planet, are knives taking more lives or making more lives? Hello? Really, it's taking more lives? Are you a surgeon? It is making more lives, both in the kitchen and the surgery table, it's making many lives. Here and there in an irresponsible hand, it's taking a life, isn't it?
Sure.
Knife is not dangerous, it is the hand, it is the identity which makes the knife dangerous. If there is no knife, just with the hand we will kill, yes or no? So the third dimension of intelligence is called as manas. This manas is the silo of memory, which we were talking about, 8 different dimensions of memory: elemental memory, atomic memory, evolutionary memory, genetic memory, karmic memory, inarticulate memory, articulate memory and conscious memory. 8 dimensions of memory, everything that's happened from the beginning of creation here on this planet, from amoeba to now, everything, the memory of it is there in the body in some form. And every day you're using this memory in an unconscious way. You're using this memory, otherwise if you forget one day, suddenly you may start going like a reptile. No, it remembers the entire evolutionary process. And do not underestimate this, now that you also said the planet is round. A simple thing with 2 legs, to walk on a damn round planet which is spinning, it's not an easy thing. Do you know how much is involved? The physics of it is very super complex. Those of you who are on binges of alcohol, you understand how difficult it is to walk on a round planet. Or if you have a vertigo or something, then you understand. Because it's a very complex process to walk on a round planet which is spinning. But we are doing it effortlessly because of this evolution. It's not a simple thing. Moving from 4 legs to 2 legs is not a small development. A whole lot of neurological development has happened. Only because of that we are able to walk on 2 legs. So now this memory is acting all the time, and the access point is the identity. How you're identified, that is how you choose the memory. Whatever kind of memory, both of us may have same kind of memory. But if I am identified one way and he is identified another way, we will choose memory differently, organize memory differently and act differently. For the same education, aren't people going different ways? In the same house, 2 children are born, same genetics, same food, same school, are they not going in like this? Because depends on what kind of identity one has chosen. This disciplining or limitless, setting a limitless identity, not a small limited identity, must happen at an early age. If this doesn't happen, our intelligence will work against us. That's what is happening in the world today. The 4th dimension of intelligence is called Chitta. This is unsullied by memory. This is an intelligence unsullied by memory. There is not an iota of memory in this. This is what normally in English language is passing off as consciousness. So, where there is no memory, there can be no boundary. Memory is the basis of boundary. This is me and that is you, this is my memory versus your memory. This is me and this is a table, this is only by memory. If there is no memory, there is no boundary. So going beyond those states of memory is necessary for every human being, whatever capabilities you have right now. Because of our explorations, our knowledge, our science, our technologies, well, this is what is eating up the very basis of our life also, isn't it so? The planet is going away. We have no solution for that, but we're going on simply because we have explored bits and pieces without grasping the entire dimension of what it is. Consciousness means that you went beyond the boundaries of your memory and grasped life as it is. Now it doesn't matter how much knowledge you have, you will do what is needed and nothing more than what is needed, and that's what needs to happen in the world.